We're gonna get Eric Christensen here, I believe.
However, these charts and summaries, and in this case, an illustration or animation, are not themselves evidence, and you will not have them in the jury room with you when you deliberate. You may consider them to the extent that they correctly reflect the evidence.
Let's play the animation, and then we're going to go back and talk about it. Is this from your viewpoint?
This one would be from my viewpoint, yes.
And let's be clear, this is not a GoPro video.
No.
This is a creation. It's not an actual video, correct?
That is correct.
It's an actual video.
So
Damn
this
it!
Is from, if you had a camera on your forehead at the time.
This is a recreation. This is just like The
sort
Simpsons.
of illustrate your testimony.
It will.
It will. All right. There's that killer Dahmer. He's back.
We're going to take this kind of piece by piece. Let's go to the very beginning. Do you know the bandana run?
A bandana. Right?
Very well.
That's where the ninjas
How many
go.
times have you skied that?
Well, I've been at Deer Valley for 40 years, actually.
You've skied the
I would
bandana run a
say
lot,
that
obviously.
The bandana run has been there for about 30 of those.
Just shut up and speak
And
Japanese
it
for
is
crying
the
out loud.
only- What do you mean?
Where the collision occurred, was that sort of across from the snow equipment?
It would be in that general area, yes.
Okay. And then there's some people here. So who's the orange, the guy in the orange?
That would represent Moses.
Moses.
All right, so
That's
let's back
Moses.
up. Were you hired by Miss Paltrow to?
I can't believe this is an actual-
to help Moses that day.
Yes.
And
Anybody
had you
helps
helped him
Moses.
before?
This was the third time I had skied with him, twice in the previous year, and then this trip on this year.
Would you lie for Gwyneth today?
No.
Are you testifying truthfully today?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no.
By the
I
way,
mean,
you were
yeah.
called a bully this morning. Have you ever bullied a guest at Deer Valley?
Deer Valley takes their guests very seriously, and if an instructor is has a confrontation with a guest, we don't last. We are supposed to be polite to everyone, and I was polite to Mr. Sanderson that day.
And have you been polite to every guest in 40 years?
I've never had a reason not to be.
So
You didn't say yes or no.
Were you
Yes.
a bully to Mr. Sanderson?
I was not.
I was not.
Is that a ridiculous claim?
I feel that it is, yes.
And you were personally named in this very lawsuit.
Your Honor.
Sustained as to relevance.
Mr. Credibility, I believe,
Move to
Your Honor.
strike, Your Honor.
Look at Tyson Fury. He's just like,
I'll follow your order.
gonna beat someone up real bad soon. I know he looks like he's gonna kill someone at any time. He's got
There's
a
been
wireless
an
mic going,
allegation-
all right, wait for the moment and then strike. That's why Tyson Fury can't fight Usyk, because he's in court in America.
Did you?
Leading.
I'm asking him to comment on it.
It's a prefatory statement. It's fine. Overruled.
Did you do that?
I did not. No one was ever unconscious during that period of time. Where do you want me to start?
Yes, it's a big story. Okay.
Okay.
Who are these two people on the animation?
Those would represent Apple and also Kerry Oaks, another instructor.
Apple.
All right. So they were a little.
So the
ahead.
green is obviously
Is that
Apple.
fair?
They were in the proximity. I can't tell you for sure exactly where they were, but we were all
Where they were. The Americans always do that. I can't tell you where they were. I can't tell you. I can't tell you where they were. Why are you doing that, Bobby? Bobby, why are you doing that?
The title of this image is Christensen's POV, point of view, and let's run it, and then James, I'll ask you to stop at some point. Okay, let's stop. Who is
Glenn?
that?
That would represent Mr. Sanderson.
Oh, that's
All
Sanderson.
right. Why is it you would look up?
Wait,
When
don't I
you're
hate Paul
working
Trout?
with students, especially if they're children, you're always looking around.
The
It's
children.
very much like driving. You're aware of everything around you. But he was skiing edge to edge, and he was making what we would refer to as GS, giant slalom turns, which basically means that they're round and large and fairly fast.
Okay. And comment on Moses's ability.
Moses it was, I think it was maybe his fourth time. He went to Big Bear one day, from what my understanding, and then he had skied a few days with me on one trip, a couple of days on a second trip, and this was his first day of this trip. So he did not have a lot of experience. He was 9 years old, and so he was still in a wedge, and so we were skiing very slow. We were skiing on the side of the run.
Comment on Gwyneth's skill level.
Gwyneth is a strong intermediate skier, and she was skiing skiers right while we were on skiers left. And one of the things that's interesting is that she was making short radius turns. Now, when we teach people how to be safe, one of the things that we do is we try to teach them to ski not right down the middle of the run, because that's where all the traffic is, but if they can ski a shorter radius turn on the side, that means they're in a narrower corridor. It also means that they are out of the line of traffic, and uphill skiers who are faster can watch and anticipate them and miss them. And that's what she was doing. She was actually skiing short radius turns on the skier's right.
Instructor, are you a level 3 instructor?
Yes, I am.
And is that the highest level?
It is.
Oh, he's level 3?
Highest
Woo!
is most advanced.
That is correct.
Okay. All right, let's run the video just a little bit.
Run the video, let's go. Okay, that's Terry Sanderson. He's sloping around. Is that Sanderson or is that
Okay,
Gwyneth?
let's stop. Who is...
Maybe that light green is Gwyneth.
Say again who all these people are.
Well, that's Gwyneth. Look at
Who's
the
that
ass
on
sticking
the-
out.
On the far end.
On the far end, that would be Miss Paltrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And
I knew
let's
it.
go a little further.
Wow, I can't believe. Whoa, whoa, watch out for their trash can!
Now.
Oh,
Let's stop.
what the hell happened?
All right.
Just fell down like she's drunk or
Craig
something.
Ramon said when he heard a sound,
What the hell
he
is Craig
turned.
Ramon?
Is that what you did?
Well, of course, when I heard a scream, that's when I looked back.
He's claimed to be the only eyewitness who essentially heard and turned, but you also heard and turned. Is that right?
That is correct.
And was Ramon immediately on the scene?
He was not.
He's not.
What happened was, I had been watching Mr. Sanderson ski down, and because I was aware of my students on the side, but as soon as he passed us, I looked back at Moses, and it was mere moments after that that we heard the scream.
All right, so whenever you say a pronoun like he,
Okay,
I'm
Mr.
going to
Sanderson.
actually
Yeah.
ask you to
Okay.
clarify who.
Sorry about that.
All right, so just say that last sentence.
Really?
We'll do
Did he
it
just
using-
pull out pronouns?
Okay, so Mr. Sanderson was skiing down, making fairly large turns, and he had accumulated a fair amount of speed. I watched him while I was watching my kids. I was paying attention to both, and as soon as he passed us, and I wasn't concerned with him hitting us, then I turned back towards Moses, but at that point he was very
Sounds a little
close
shaky.
to Miss Paltrow, and I looked away. I did not actually see the collision, but I heard her scream, and that's when I looked up.
But Ramon was not on the scene for how many seconds?
I would say at least 45 seconds.
Whoa.
I mean, Miss
He was 40
Paltrow
feet away,
already
right?
up on her feet. We were getting Mr. Sanderson up on his feet. He was very late to the scene.
Okay, we're
I
gonna
would
have to
just assume that
continue
he
with
was
this. We're
not
running
as
out of time here.
fast a skier as Mr. Sanderson was.
All right, so let's be clear. Did you literally see the moment of impact?
I did not.
All right. Did you hear and turn?
I did hear, and I turned, and by that time they're already moving on the ground.
And who's on top?
Miss Paltrow is on top.
All right, and let's finish running the video if you don't mind. So is this you
skis on.
skiing over to them?
It is.
Is this more or less what you saw?
Pretty much. They were below me, so
Yeah,
the first thing I did was I turned to Carrie and I said, asked her to take Moses, and I said, I'm going to go over to see what happened.
Hear Miss Paltrow say anything?
When I got there,
Paltrow, pal, like a
this
pal.
one, yeah, okay. When I got to the scene, she was talking and a little bit upset. They were both talking. The first thing I did was I took off my skis and I moved around on would have been the right-hand side. And they both had their heads uphill. Both sets of skis were still on both she and Mr. Sanderson. And their skis were below them. And they were basically lying pretty much on their backs.
Okay. And I think Ramon said that their heads were downhill. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree.
And you even smiled. And why did you smile?
Well, for one thing, he wasn't there at that time. But no, they were, I don't know how to describe it with my arms, but, they were on the slope and she was underneath and he was on top of her.